It's true, isn't it? It is just so true. When we're not in touch with our own shortcomings, failings, sins, we become preoccupied with those of others. Of course, this can be exacerbated by environmental factors, really critical mother, for example. But that just compounds what's already on the inside. Everything gets darker. The good becomes less visible. Joy is just sapped, pulled out everywhere. And often others are drawn into the gravitational pull of our criticism. The ancient pagans may have gotten a lot wrong, but when they spoke of such things as gods, as having or taking on a life of their own, boy, I think they were on to something. I mean, it can be blatant, blunt, obvious, in your face, but it can creep in subtle ways. If you're married and you're of a certain age, during your preparation for marriage, you likely took an inventory. It's like a list of 100 or so questions or statements. You were to mark, along with your intended spouse, agree, disagree, or uncertain. One of the statements that gets the most agreement between bride and groom is, my fiance and I make sarcastic comments to each other. Is that hard to believe? Probably not. Now, this, of course, doesn't mean that lovely banter that takes place, the teasing, lighthearted teasing. It means something more pointed, harsh. That's often covered up or masked. Oh, this is a joke. Can't you take a joke? No. It can be blatant. It can creep in subtle ways. I mean, it can be passive-aggressive, avoiding the person altogether, ostracizing them. And so we find something or someone or some group to keep our focus off of ourselves and our own offenses. St. Augustine was so right when he wrote, "Do you find yourself complaining? That's because you're not confessing as you should." It's precisely the remedy Jesus provided. Let the one among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her. Consider your own faults. And what results? Humility, compassion, identifying with people, not as objects to be used for humiliation or target practice. Has no one condemned you after reflecting on their own spiritual state? And notice the pre-Christian strategy for dealing with sin: stoning, elimination of the threat, destruction. But with Jesus, transformation, the possibility of a fresh start, forgiveness. Neither do I condemn you. Go, and from now on, sin no more. You can begin a different life. Now, a moment's reflection suggests our society is falling back into a pre-Christian state, with the prevailing instinct moving away from acknowledging sin and seeking or offering forgiveness. Anger, payback, humiliation, virtual stoning are so near at hand. Reminds me of a church official once who shared a complaint that was brought to him about somebody who had helped out in the parish. As he described it, it sounded like there was an error of judgment. It wasn't good, but not egregious. And I kind of suggested that to him, and he said something like, "Well, you don't want him to be part of things, do you?" I said, "Well, I'd like to know whether or not it's actually true first. But I do believe in redemption. Don't you?" When Christ fades into the background, people become irredeemable in our eyes, a threat to be excised or stoned or canceled. Friends, we have no righteousness of our own. We heard St. Paul state that ever so clearly. Our righteousness comes through faith in Jesus Christ, not our own moral standing. Thanks be to God. And our participation in his death, with the hope of sharing in his resurrection, comes in part through countering the evil and sin in this world with the love and the mercy which now hangs veiled on that cross. Confess your sins this week at the penance services if you haven't already done so this Lent. I mean, that does seem to be the necessary condition to combat the spirit, the God, the demon of criticism, hypocrisy, and stone throwing at work in a fallen world. A world that's very much in need of your compassion.